Hello, this is Dr. Victoria Skirbo, and this is your astrological weather for Sunday, October 25th. Today, the moon shifts into Aries. We had a couple of days where we had the opportunity to sort of float around in the otherworldly world of Pisces, and now we kind of move into a new cycle of feeling every time the moon moves into Aries. That occurs once a month. So we are in a new cycle. And yet today there are a few larger cycles, larger as in larger than a month cycles, that are coming to points of fruition. In the case of Mercury and Uranus, and a new cycle beginning in the case of Venus and Jupiter. Let's talk about Venus and Jupiter first, because it occurs first. It occurs around 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the east coast of the United States, and it is a conjunction of Venus and Jupiter in Virgo. Now, what's interesting about this conjunction, generally we have a conjunction of Venus and Jupiter once a year, unless there's a Venus retrograde cycle. And we did have a Venus retrograde cycle that began at the end of, I think it was July, and went into September. And whenever we have Venus retrograde, we have an opportunity to reevaluate our values and what's important to us. The Venus retrograde cycle occurred both in Virgo. It went retrograde at 1 degree of Virgo, and mostly the retrograde occurred in Leo. And so Virgo and Leo were the two signs that were where we sort of looked at our relationship to ourself and kind of what needs to be fixed in that respect. So we had 3 conjunctions of Venus and Jupiter. The first one occurred back on the 1st of July. That occurred at 23 degrees of Leo. The second one occurred, let's see, I know the degree, I don't necessarily know the date, August 4th, and that occurred at 29 degrees of Leo. And today's conjunction occurs at, I believe, 15 or 16 degrees of Virgo. Let's see. 16 degrees of Virgo. And so if you have any planets in your chart at those degrees, or see what house or houses that those degrees reside in, you can see where you're having a new beginning around the expansion of your values. And these are values that have been reviewed. And so we have an opportunity now to move forward more self-assured of our relationship to ourself, our relationship to our heart, our relationship to our mind, and how to move forward. The other aspect that's occurring today is an opposition between Mercury and Uranus. What makes this interesting, even more interesting, is that Uranus is actually the higher octave of Mercury. And the Mercury-Uranus connections are often connections where we can come in contact with our higher mind, our higher self. And so oppositions are around awareness. This harkens back to April 8th, exactly April 8th, when these two planets were conjoined at 17 degrees of Aries. And so we were starting a new cycle at that time, and now many months later we find the fruition of that cycle. And so what was planted at that time comes to fruition now. We get to see what has grown from that seed, and it was a seed of our lower mind connecting with our higher mind. So take notice what you're aware of today when it comes to higher spiritual energies. And from this point on, then we get to share it with the world, which is another 6-month process. So work isn't over, but the work of nurturing the seed is over, and now we get to share it. So a lot of stuff going on. I know I said a lot of things, so have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.